you. أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. Inshallah, we'll start with Salabat book, page number 5. اللهم صل وسلم على نبينا محمد عليه السلام صلاة تدوم وتهدى إليه ومر الليالي وطول دوام. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا ليغفرك الله ما تقدم من ذنبك وما تأخر ويتم نعمته عليك ويهديك صراطا مستقيما وينصرك الله نصرا عزيزا. لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. وإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الفاتحة لنا ولكم يا حاضرون ووالدنا ووالدكم وأهالينا وأولادنا ولمشايخنا ولمن حضرنا ولمن غاب عنا ولأحيائنا ولأمواتنا وللمواطنين على هذا المجلس ولمن كان سببا في جمعنا، بأن الله الكريم ينفر القلوب ويغفر الذنوب ويستر العيوب ويحفظنا بما حفظ به الذكر وينصرنا بما نصر به الرسول. وأن الله الكريم يجعل مجلسنا هذا محاطا بالخيرات والمسرات والأنوار والبركات ويقضي لنا جميع الحاجات بجاه خير البريات. وأن الله ينصر المسلمين وعلى نية الله الكريم ينصر سلطان الأولياء مولانا الشيخ محمد ناظم عادل الحقاني قدس الله سره بجاه خير الأنام، وعلى كل نية صالحة مع حسن الخاتمة عند الموت بعد العمر المديد في طاعة الله وإلى حضرة النبي. بسر سورة الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أنت سلطاننا يا ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وتب علينا وزد حبيبك سيد الأولين والآخرين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم زده يا ربي عزا وشرافا ونورا وسرورا وسلطانا ورضوانا رغما في الشيطان ومن تبعه. عباد الله رجال الله أغيثونا بأهل الله وكونوا أولنا في الله سنهضا بفضل الله. ويا أكتاب ويا أنجاب ويا سادات ويا أحباب وأنتم يا أولي الألباب تعالوا وانظروا لله. عباد الله رجال الله أغيثونا بأهل الله وكونوا मदद 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 या सैयद मदद 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 या रसूल अल्लाह मदद या अबू बकर सिद्दीक मदद या उमर फारूक मदद या उस्मान गनी मदद या इमाम अली मदद 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 या सैयद मदद 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 या रसूल अल्लाह मदद या फातिमा ज़हरा मदद या इमाम हसन मदद या इमाम हुसैन मदद या सलमान फारसी मदद 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 या सैयद मदद 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 या रसूल अल्लाह मदद या कासिम मदद या सादिक मदद या बिस्तामी मदद या फरकानी मदद 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 या सैयद मदद 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 या रसूल अल्लाह मदद या फरमादी मदद या हमदानी मदद या खिदरू मदद या गुजवानी मदद या आरिफू मदद या फगनावी मदद 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 या सैयद मदद 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 या रसूल अल्लाह मदद या रमितानी मदद या समासी मदद या अमीर कोलार मदद या शाह नक्शबंद मदद या अत्तारू मदद या चारखी मदद 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 या सैयद मदद 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 या रसूल अल्लाह मदद या अहरारी मदद या ज़ाहिदी मदद या दरवेशो मदद या अकनाकी मदद या बाकी बिल्ला मदद या सिर हिंदी मदद 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 या सैयद मदद 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 या रसूल अल्लाह मदद या मासूमी मदद या सैफुद्दीन मदद या बदवानी मदद या शमसुद्दीन मदद या दहलावी मदद या बगदादी मदद 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 या सैयद मदद 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 या रसूल अल्लाह मदद या इस्माईल मदद या ख़ास मोहम्मद मदद या यारानी मदद या गुमोती मदद 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 या सैयद मदद 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 या रसूल अल्लाह मदद या सुगूरी मदद या मदनी मदद या शरफुद्दीन मदद या अब्दुल्लाह मदद 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 या सैयद मदद 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 या रसूल अल्लाह मदद या शेख नाज़िम मदद या शेख शाह मदद या शेख अदनान मदद या शेख आदिल मदद 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 या सैयद मदद 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 या रसूल अल्लाह मदद या साहिबुल वक्त मदद या फरदानी मदद या सिद्दीक़ुल मदद या यमानी मदद या इमामुल आरिफीन मदद या सखावी मदद या मरबिल हाल मदद या खुदलाना मदद 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 या सैयद मदद 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 या रसूल अल्लाह मदद या इमाम
مهدي مدد يا خليفة الله مدد يا إمام مهدي مدد يا خليفة الله مدد 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 يا سيدي مدد 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 يا رسول الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ومولانا محمد المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم. بمددكم ونظركم سيدي يا رسول الكريم يا حبيب العظيم. Inshallah fi barakat Shahr Mubarak and the blessed days of Hajj, that Allah dress us and bless us and keep us in the company of those whom He has favoured, Nabi'een, Siddiqeen, Shuhada'i wa Saliheen, and they are the best of those to keep company for Allah with them. InshaAllah bimadadakum wa nazarakum ya Sultan al-Awliya Imam Shaykh Abdul Faiz al-Daghestani, Sultan al-Awliya Shaykh Muhammad Nazim Adil Haqqani, Mawlana Shaykh Hisham Kabani, Shaykh Adnan Kabani, Shaykh Muhammad Adil, Abdul Khaliq al-Khujdawani, Sahib Zaman Sayyidina Muhammad al-Mahdi alayhi salam, Ruhullah Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, Saifullah Sayyidina alayhi salam, Thumma Abu Bakr Siddiq, Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Uthman, Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam, Sayyidatina Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam, wa Sayyida wa Saddatina wa Siddiqina al-Fatiha. Malak al-Shafat ya Rasul al-Kareem. Ameen. InshaAllah we have some Farsi nasheeds inshaAllah.
87.
मौला अली या हैदर 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 आबिरोए आलम विलायत आगा दारुन दारे मन फिदाए तो आगा एक जाने जहानी फ़ख्रे मुत्तक़ियानी अमीरे मोमिनानी हस्ती साक़ी क़तर मौला अली या हैदर 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 नामे तो सिफ़ाए रमज़ान अल-करीम मसीर हुब्बे तो सिरातल मुस्तक़ीम राहत राहे हिदायत क़द्रे तो बेनहायत मरमाना माइनायत हक़ के मालिक ओ क़ंबर मौला अली या हैदर 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 दुआ कुन अरबाईन मशहूर आशूरा अज़ नजफ़ बिरावीम बेसुए करबला खुर्शीद आलमीनी नबीरा नूर आईनी गिरिए गुने हुसैनी ता सुबह रोज़े महशर मौला अली या हैदर 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 हो जाबो दे आगा बेरोज़े आशूरा हुसैन तलब पेश में गर्दे थे सरजोदा ज़िक्र शागिर दियारत जानश आमद बरलब आमानस दिले ज़ैनब दर मातम बरादर हुसैन ग़र मादर मौला अली या हैदर 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 على محمد كل ليل والنهار بارها گفت محمد کے علی جان من است بارها گفت محمد کے علی جان من است ہم بے جان علی و ہم بے محمد صلوات لا فتح الا علی لا سیف الا ذوالفقار لا فتح الا علی لا سیف الا ذوالفقار اذكروا على محمد كل ليل ونهار يا قاهر العدو يا والي الوليد يا مظهر العجائب يا مرتضى علي لا فتح الا علي لا سيف الا ذوالفقار لا فتح الا علي لا سيف الا ذوالفقار اذكروا على محمد كل ليل ونهار قال رسول الله انا مدينة العلم ولبابها قال رسول الله انا مدينة العلم ولبابها علي بابه علي بابه علي بابه علي بابه علي بابه علي بابه لا فتح الا علي لا سيف الا ذوالفقار لا فتح الا علي لا سيف الا ذوالفقار اذكروا على محمد كل الليل ونهار يا نكتبي بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا نكتبي بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا اسد الله غالب يا مرتضى يا علي لا فتح الا علي لا سيف الا ذوالفقار لا فتح الا علي لا سيف الا ذوالفقار اذكروا على محمد كل ليل ونهار اول واخر ظاهر باطن يا ابا الحسن يا ابا الحسين جانے پیغمبر معشوق زہرا یا شاہ مردان یا شیر یزدان یا حکم و فرمان یا نور جانان ای جان جانان ای تو درمان علی لا فتح الا علی لا سیف الا ذوالفقار لا فتح الا علی لا سیف الا ذوالفقار اذكروا على محمد كل ليل ونهار. Inshallah, page number 18. Allah madad, Allah madad, Allah madad, Allah madad, Ya Rasul Allah nazar, Ya Rasul Allah nazar, Ya Rasul Allah nazar, Ya Rasul Allah nazar. Allah madad, Allah madad, Allah madad, Allah madad, Ya Rasul Allah nazar, Ya Rasul Allah nazar, Ya Rasul Allah nazar, Ya Rasul Allah nazar. Yar man, yar man, yar bezanhar man, ey hicr tu dil sozi man, ey lutf tu gham khar man, ey lutf tu gham khar man. Allah madad, Allah madad, Allah madad, Allah madad, Ya Rasul Allah nazar, Ya Rasul Allah nazar, Ya Rasul Allah nazar, Ya Rasul Allah nazar. Khushbir روی در جان من چو می کنی درمان من ای دین و ایمان من ای بحر گوهر بار من ای بحر گوهر بار من الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر ای جان من ای جان من سلطان من سلطان من دریای بی پایان من بالاتر از پندار من بالاتر از پندار من الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر این شب روان را مشعله ای عاشقان را سلسله ای منزل هر قافله ای قافله سالار من ای قافله سالار من الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر پوشیده چون جان می روی اندر میان جان من سرو خرامان منی ای رونق بستان من ای رونق بستان من الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر چو می روی بی من مرو ای جان جان بی تن مرو وز چشم من بیرون مشو ای مشعل تابان من ای مشعل تابان من الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر مردم همه مردم همه مردم همه مردم همه غلام تو جان غلام تو جان غلام تو جان هر زایش آمده هر زایش آمده هر زایش آمده هر زایش آمده نام تو جان نام تو جان نام تو جان الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد الله مدد یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر یا رسول الله نظر
So that we have for Maulana Chant Naqshbandi.
صل على سيد الأسرياء صل على حجة الأولياء صل على سيد الأصفياء صل على حجة الأولياء صل على سيد الأصفياء صل على حجة الأولياء صل على سيد الأصفياء صل على حجة الأولياء یار شاه نقشبندی یار دلمو به جز تو نه به هیچ کس ندم ای یار شاه نقشبندی یار دلمو به جز تو نه به هیچ کس ندم صلی علی سید الاصفیاء صلی علی حجت الاولیاء صلی علی سید الاصفیاء صلی علی حجت الاولیاء به محمد و علی و زهرا یا حسین و حسن و آل عبا که راجتم درد و سرا بی منت خلق یا علی العلا یا علی العلا یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم به خدا زیر سر اومده یا مولای دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم به خدا زیر سر اومده در دیده به جای خواب بس مرا یا مولای دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم به خدا زیر سنگ اومده یا مولای دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم به خدا زیر سنگ اومده زیرا که به دیدن چشم است مرا یا مولای دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم به خدا زیر سنگ اومده یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم به خدا زیر سنگ اومده باید تو بخواد تا که بخوابش بینی یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم به خدا زیر سنگ اومده یا مولای دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم به خدا زیر سنگ اومده بی خبران چه وقت خواب است مرا یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم به خدا زیر سنگ اومده یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم به خدا زیر سنگ اومده ایلالم تو چون گروخی یار منی یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم به خدا زیر سنگ اومده یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم به خدا زیر سنگ اومده یه غن پسر چشم شکار آمده یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم ای خدا زیر سنگ اومده یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم ای خدا زیر سنگ اومده یادش نشدی یا شکار آمده یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم ای خدا زیر سنگ اومده یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم ای خدا زیر سنگ اومده نیتش نشده به شکار آمده یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم ای خدا زیر سنگ اومده یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم ای خدا زیر سنگ اومده دیوانه شده دیدن یار آمده یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم ای خدا زیر سنگ اومده یا مولا دل و تنگ اومده شیشه دلم ای خدا زیر سنگ اومده
Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik alayhi wa ala alihi. Inshallah, let's do some qawalis.
जब हुस्न था उनका जलवा नुमा अनवार का आलम क्या होगा हर कोई फिदा है बिन देखे दीदार का आलम क्या होगा जब हुस्न था उनका जलवा नुमा अनवार का आलम क्या होगा हर कोई
गुफ्तार का आलम क्या होगा, फिर मेरे रसूल अकरम की गुफ्तार का आलम क्या होगा। हर कोई फिदा है बिन देखे दीदार का आलम क्या होगा, हर कोई फिदा है बिन देखे दीदार का आलम क्या होगा।
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله।
मुर्तज़ा के पेसर फातिमा के जिगर ए इमाम ज़मन तेरी क्या बात है। मुस्तफ़ा ने कहा तुझको अपना बदन, मुस्तफ़ा के बदन तेरी क्या बात है। मुर्तज़ा के पेसर फातिमा के जिगर ए इमाम हसन तेरी क्या बात है। मुस्तफ़ा ने कहा तुझको अपना बदन, मुस्तफ़ा के बदन तेरी क्या बात है। तेरी मादर सी मादर किसी की नहीं, तेरे नाना सा नाना किसी का नहीं। तेरी मादर सी मादर किसी की नहीं, तेरे नाना सा नाना किसी का नहीं। तेरे भाई सा भाई किसी का नहीं, तेरे बाबा सा बाबा किसी का नहीं। हमने आलम का तुझको पैगंबर कहे मेरे मौला हसन तेरी क्या बात है। मुर्तज़ा के पेसर फातिमा के जिगर ए इमाम ज़मन तेरी क्या बात है। मुस्तफ़ा ने कहा तुझको अपना बदन, मुस्तफ़ा के बदन तेरी क्या बात है। जैसे कुरान ज़माने में लारब है तू भी, ऐसे ज़माने में लारब है। जैसे कुरान ज़माने में लारब है तू भी, ऐसे ज़माने में लारब है। मुस्तफ़ा मुर्तज़ा सैयदा फातिमा वो भी बेअब है तू भी बेअब है। मुस्तफ़ा मुर्तज़ा सैयदा फातिमा वो भी बेअब है तू भी बेअब है। तेरी सुलहों में मुज़मिर है हक़ी फ़ता इब्ने खैबर शिकन तेरी क्या बात है। मुर्तज़ा के पेसर फातिमा के जिगर ए इमाम ज़मन तेरी क्या बात है। मुस्तफ़ा ने कहा तुझको अपना बदन, मुस्तफ़ा के बदन तेरी क्या बात है। तेरी तख्लीक मखलूक से है जुदा, तो तहारत की झोले में नाजिल हुआ। तेरी तख्लीक मखलूक से है जुदा, तो तहारत की झोली में नाजिल हुआ। गुलशन फातिमा में तुझे देखे कर हूरो गुलमाने और कुदसियों ने कहा। गुलशन फातिमा में तुझे देखे कर हूरो गुलमाने और कुदसियों ने कहा। बाबे ज़हरा में तुझसे बाहर आ गई, बाबे ज़हरा में तुझसे बाहर आ गई। ए बहार चमन तेरी क्या बात है। मुर्तज़ा के पेसर फातिमा के जिगर ए इमाम ज़मन तेरी क्या बात है। मुस्तफ़ा ने कहा तुझको अपना बदन, मुस्तफ़ा के बदन तेरी क्या बात है। मुस्तफ़ा के बदन तेरी क्या बात है।
माशाअल्लाह। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला सय्यिदना मुहम्मद व अला आलि सय्यिदना मुहम्मद। सुब्हान रब्बिका रब्बिल इज़्ज़ति अम्मा यसिफून سلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. إلى شرف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى أصحابه الكرام وعلى مشايخنا في طريقة النقشبندية العلية وسائر ساداتنا الصديقين. عن الفاتحة. بالشفاعة يا رسول الكريم آمين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أطيعوا الله أطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم. And there was a reminder for myself, and Abdul Aziz Da'if, Miskeen, Zalim and Jahan, but for the grace of Allah that we are still in existence. Alhamdulillah that Allah gave us a life in which to see this year's Hajj and to enter into the holy month of Zulhijjah and the time of Hajj. Alhamdulillah that we talked about the tawaf, and the tawaf is a reminder of our focus in life, and that the inner Hajj is the goal towards the oceans of reality, and the love of Sayyidina Muhammad. Our Safa and Marwa is a lifelong process of the divine springs and oceans of reality that Allah want to dress within the soul of the seekers. Because everything that we are doing physically is a much deeper reality spiritually. That which we're focusing on, we're making our tawaf, and our focus is Allah making our 7 tawaf, because we have 7 names in Divine the Presence, and asking that each tawaf that we're making dressing our reality upon this earth, and that each of the 7 realities dressing us upon this earth to reach towards Allah's Divinely pleasure and Divinely lights. The Safa and Marwa is our oceans and springs of reality, that online we have a much more detailed understanding of the springs, and it's a lifelong journey, that a continuous struggle as we struggle in our way and to reach our way of realities. Allah is dressing the soul of the believers and those whom He has inspired to reach to the higher heights and to the higher realities. So everything is about the reaching of the inward. We talked the other night, trying to find our article on Naqshbandiya, and built upon the 11 principles of Naqshbandiya. The tariqah, so every tariqah had a specialty and a gift that they were bringing out. Mevlevis and Sayyidina Jalaluddin Rumi Qaddasallahu Sirruh was bringing out the reality of the Muhammadan haqqaiq and teaching the students sama'. That was the physical manifestation of teaching them that your whole focus is on the heart, that make your body to run after the heart, that the wuquful qalb and the vigilance of your heart, and then this ishq and love of the Muhammadan reality. The love poetry was not about people. What he was giving of inspirations and ilham coming through his heart was, when you are non-existent, the love that you're experiencing is the love that Allah has for the reality of Sayyidina Muhammad, and the immense unimaginable love that Sayyidina Muhammad has for Divine the Presence. When the self is out, what is being felt is the love of the Divinely Presence. As a result of all of those writings of ishq and love, it's not from the seeker, because the seeker is negated, and the seeker is merely negating themselves to be nothing. In the ocean of nothingness is to witness the One and to witness what Allah wants the servant to witness. From that witnessing immense oceans of love, poetry and love for the Divine, the Presence, love of what Allah what we try to describe as this love that Allah has for Sayyidina Muhammad, because He created this creation out of love. This haqqaiq is the ocean of love, and as a result He beautifies everything for the sake of that love. And that's why the immensity of those poetries, that's why the immensity of teaching the students about that love, that if they lost themselves and they entered into that love, their sama they would rise and they were levitating off the ground in their sama, which no longer is happening. And a lot of these miracles stop because the time is too close for the Dajjal and they don't want to mix events that are happening with Dajjal. Then the Rifai and Qadri, theirs was the standing reality of ishq and love, that they stand for the hadra and the presence of Sayyidina Muhammad and that to take from that Divinely qudra a fayaz into their heart. That every time they stood and they resembled the atomic reality, that they are the electrons and Prophet is the nucleus, and the nucleus is only positive and emitting positives. And the sultanate of that positive, that he sends out the lightning from his heart and as a result it hits everyone on the circumference, and as a result of that hit it brings the electron closer into the Divinely Presence. So the reality of their hadra was Hadrat al-Nabi. Naqshbandiyat al-Aliyah were the immense oceans of esoteric knowledge, that because of the mastery of the foundation they laid for entering into their heart, that their miracle was to teach the student how to clean, how to wash, how to sit and enter into the heart. And because of the depth of their muraqabah, their tafakkur, all their contemplation was then the immense realities of knowledges that were coming out from Naqshbandiyah. And this was the fame of Naqshbandiyah was the ulum and the knowledges, but that was a result because of the specialties of tafakkur and contemplation, which now became a time of jahiliyah in which it's not even understood anymore, and people asking, is this even in tariqah to meditate, to make tafakkur, to make contemplation. So we'll go over just one because as they become more, they're much more complicated. But from the principles that Mawlana Abdul Khaliq al-Khujdawani and Mawlana Chant Naqshbandi compiled, and they are about 400 years in difference. Mawlana Abdul Khaliq al-Khujdawani was earlier, the 11th shaykh. 17th shaykh of Naqshbandiyah is Mawlana Chant Naqshbandi Qaddasallahu Sirruh. So the time doesn't matter for them in the realities of completing and their connection with each other, but it's encapsulated by the name of Naqshbandiyah because of the immensity of what Mawlana Chant Naqshbandi had put together for the school, as if to finish it and seal it, that from this point on the name doesn't change. And Naqshbandiyah then became the immense schools of haqqaiqs into the heart and how to tafakkur and contemplate into the depth of the heart. And that doesn't change until the presence of Sayyidina Mahdi which everything becomes Muhammadiyun. That Sayyidina Mahdi doesn't follow anyone's name, and all names will become Muhammadiyun to follow the way of the Muhammadan representative and the reflection of Sayyidina Muhammad upon this earth. The first principle that they laid for us, for anyone who's coming to Naqshbandiyah, is hush dardam. Hush is to be conscious, dardam to be conscious of your breath. So that's why all of the shaykhs, and Mawlana Shaykh's book on the Naqshbandi golden chain has the lives of all the shaykhs, and every single shaykh has a quote on the importance of the breath. So the tariqah is built on khush-dam, conscious breathing. And to encapsulate just the understanding of it is that the greatest gift that Allah has given to all of creation is the breath. And Mawlana Shaykh describes that Allah put from the secret of alif, lam, lam, hay, the secret of that hay is in every creation is the secret of that breath. So that nafas ar-rahmah that is sending out to all of creation, and everything is required to breathe, whether upon the earth or under the sea, it's breathing. It's breathing by the secret of that hay. And with the reality of that hay we've described before, that is who, because that hay has a little wow above it and within it. It has a wow outside and has a wow hidden inside, because it's all about the reality of hu and ishq. So then this hu is the secret of every breath. It's a power like the Wi-Fi we described that emanates everywhere. As a result of that power, that qudra, all creation is required to breathe it in. They consume that hay, and as they consume it, that hu is giving them a life force. If the seeker doesn't understand that, what then is tariqah? Just get-togethers and people walking around looking different than other people? So this was the usul of marifah. The Islamic usul, these are for Islam, but for Iman these principles of Naqshbandiyya was for the school that the student wants to enter in. The first thing they have to be taught is the hush-dam, be conscious of your breath. All the teachings on the importance of breath, all the realities of hu, that when you understand that this power of breath is hu, and the people that we call guides because they have hidayat, they have wow and wudud. These guides of hu, they are the guides of muhabbat and love. Everything about them should be loving. That's why if you looked at Mawlana Shaykh Nazim Sultan al-Awliya was immense ocean of hu. Whether you were good or you were bad, he was always loving, because his character is not based on you, is not based on the seeker, not based on anyone, is based on the Divinely reflection. His nazar, his vision and reflection is from Divinely presence, not based on people and creation. He merely reflects what Allah wants to be reflected upon humanity. But the reality of the hu-men is that they are the symbols of ishq and love, that they must be emanating a wow and that they have a love and compassion for everything. But doesn't mean all of them are not capable of errors, because life and all of its complexities. But this is the basis of their training, was to be filled with this Divinely ishq and love, a respect for all humanity, all creatures, all creation. And as a result Allah has sent them through the schools of tarbiyah and they were granted hidayat and guidance. And the hidayat and guidance is with all their faculties. They have to have trained their ears, how to guide their ears means how to listen. When they accompanied their shaykh they listened. They didn't care if they were family with the shaykh, not family with the shaykh. Don't interfere with what that reality of listening had to be, because the shaykh was merely the symbol of Sayyidina Muhammad, so that the hearing could be unlocked. But when you use your aql with them and don't hear from them, don't hear them, start using your own thought processes, this hearing doesn't open as was open for them. They opened their eyes because Allah taught them how to keep control of their eyes, and that'll be in the other steps. As a result Allah showed them also how to clean their eyes. Once Allah stamped their eyes to be clean, taught them how to clean their eyes, they have been trained on how to keep their eyes clean. That for every event and everything that happening upon this earth, awliyaullah are witness to it. You're good, the bad and extremely horrible, there must be angels present and awliyaullah present at every event. There's nothing happening on this earth that their soul is not witness to. From the torturing of people, killing, violence, whatever you can imagine of it, their soul must be present. If Allah didn't train them on how to clean, they would collapse from difficulty and horrific nature of the reality of dunya. But means that Allah trained their hidayah, trained their breath, how to breathe, how to purify their breath. Hushdardam was then the importance of their breath. They understood that this power is in everything, it's reaching every creation to reach that hu. As a result, this is the most important force that Allah is sending onto this creation. So we call nafas ar-rahmah is the breath of the merciful, the most merciful. So then to train on how to connect with the shaykhs, how to connect with our reality, and then in the tafakkur begin, because everything its foundation is with the connection. So again the analogy is you first gonna build a house, then you're going to decide what you're putting into the house. If you don't, it's as if you put your couch outside in the backyard. First is the house, everything then beautiful goes inside the house. The house is the connection with the shaykh, otherwise if you begin to meditate without the shaykh, of course shaitan is going to be sitting next to you and all his representatives are going to be connecting to your head, to your ears and to your heart. That's why the connection has to come first, the tafakkur comes first. As soon as they connect, they learn to connect, they ask for the faiz, they ask to be present, then hushdardam they begin to train that breathe, be conscious of this breath that coming in. Every breath that coming in is a power and energy, and every dirtiness is being exhaled. This they trained with this, breathing this energy until they catch the fire of that energy. When Allah again grant their breath and their training sincerity, they begin to breathe like a divine fire comes in and they begin to be ignited from that heat. Every dhikr they make when they say subhanallah, alhamdulillah, everything in them is shaking and on fire, because every dhikr has an immense power. We have emails from people, they say, Ya Jabbar, and they begin to shake, Ya Qahhar, they begin to shake, and said that the shaitan in the room was catching on fire as they were shaking, the shaitan was burning. Every dhikr of Allah with the breath of truth and the breath of cleanliness, the breath of reality is then ignited. Every dhikr, every salawat, every practice they're doing, they turning that into like a fire, and that's why it becomes like a sun. Their realities are like suns, that they have a lit heart, that everything they do, if they do it in their contemplative state, it begins to ignite, and they don't do that all the time, it's going to cause problems for them and everything around them. but the reality of the breath was immense. So then we can see that if nobody's training on the breath and tafakkur and contemplation, what left of then tariqah? For the first step is that the breath has to be ignited, the energies have to be ignited, the heart has to be ignited, so that when they are alone and they're doing their tafakkur, they're doing their contemplation, they made their connection and they begin their awrad, they begin their zikrs and they feel the energy of that. They feel the immense power that dressing their soul and their practices. We go to, and then the immensity of all of that breath and the reality of the breath, the life of this breath and all the physiology of this breath. What happens when this power comes in and comes into the lungs, comes into the heart, comes into all the organs, what type of power in the breath comes out in their breathing. So the immensity of that reality. Then the second of these principles is nazar bar qaddam, and again these are all Farsi because Mawlana Chant Naqshbandi, they're all the Khurasan masters where all their futuhats are in Farsi. They say if Islam came in Arabic it became beautiful by Farsi, it brought out all the realities of Islam. So it means that for somebody to wonder, oh are these guys Shia, why are these guys Iranian? As if they have lost all understanding of the reality of Islam. All of the realities of Islam and the beatific reality of Islam came from the people of Fars. Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jailani was Farsi speaking that brought all these haqqaiqs and all these realities out. Tirmizi was Farsi speaking, Bukhari was Farsi speaking. All the hadith translations and books are all Farsi and all written in Farsi. All their maqams are in Uzbekistan, which is all Khurasan, which was all the lands of Fars. So again, like in last days becomes something ajeeb and they want to give weird political titles. No, these are from the Farsi masters bringing back all of this reality onto this earth for the presence of Sayyidina Mahdi salam. Nazar bar qadam, that they would then teach the students that your life is about where you're looking. That the nazar precedes the qadam, your eyes will precede where your movement will be. So that which you look at and focus at, don't be surprised your feet are following it later. So we know that the eyes and then the in-depth teaching, we have all of these on the website over these 20 years of teaching. This nazar is then the reality of your eyes. The reality of your eyes are your hawa, your dunya. What you want from dunya, they say your eyes are hungry. So that which you look at with your physical eyes and don't compare with shaykh, these are for non-shaykh people. Shaykhs then they have a different system in which Allah has certified them with because of where they have to be and where their soul is always at. But the nazar of people on what they look at, it's going to influence their qadam and their step and their movement. That which you look at, it's a food. You say the eyes are hungry, they're eating what they see and as a result it's pulling their body in that direction. And that's why we can understand that what shaitan is doing, he's pulling people. So there used to be a poetry for children, the Pied Piper, where someone would play a pipe and gather all the children and take them out into the thing and drop them into the river. This was a British kids things, they have very scary kids things, but this was an example that which they were focusing and making everybody to follow them and attune and attract them to movement. Awliyaullah know that whatever your eyes are looking at is calling you. So you look towards all your dunya desires, all the things you want to buy, all the things that you want to look like. Shaitan knows that what you see through your eyes, and he will pull you into that direction, and then everybody goes and modifies themselves, modifies their bodies, go and buy everything that they can't afford, and their qadam now is in a different direction. So then awliyaullah came and told Nazar bar qadam that, keep your life in which your nazar, your eyes that control your heart, control your dunya desires, keep them upon your feet. Lower your gaze, keep them upon your feet, and the lowering of the gaze was that to focus on your qadam, focus on your feet. This is all like a formula. So not just you lower your gaze looking at the sidewalk crack, but the qadam and the secret of the qadam. The qadam is the path of Sayyidina Muhammad and say qadam al-haq, because you can't take these teachings in half, and that's why Prophet was teaching, Allah was teaching the believer, tell the believer to lower their gaze. Awliyaullah come then to bring out its fruit and say, not only lower your gaze but keep your gaze upon your feet. And then they begin to say, why feet? Well, because qadam al-haq, the feet and the path of truth is Sayyidina Muhammad. So the reality of a qadam is that the mim, that it's a way towards the oceans of power of Sayyidina Muhammad. Qadam as-Siddiq were the holy companions and Ahlul Bayt, that they followed the way of Sayyidina Muhammad, and as a result our life was from Atiullah, Atiur Rasul wa ulul amri minkum. Why Allah warned for us that follow them, obey them, keep their company, because they are inheriting qadam al-haq, they inherit qadam as-Siddiq, and their lives are to be muqaddam. So muqaddam, they are the people of the qadam, of the path. And so the nazar bar qadam means that keep your eye on your shaykh and on the teaching and on the path. Not only your own feet, because if your feet are not going good and you're just dancing at a club looking at your feet, what was the benefit of that? It wasn't just you take it halfway. The awliyaullah come to explain everything, that once you take a path in which to look where these feet are taking me, they're not taking me to Divinely Presence. So that the seeker would seek out that, I want my feet to be muqaddam, I want to be somebody on a path towards the path of Sayyidina Muhammad. So then I must follow a muqaddam, one whom is certified on that reality, and as a result I follow them, I follow their teaching, follow their way, follow all of the practices that they're giving to us, so that I am a muqaddam, that I am following this shaykh, and that my nazar means my heart and my desire is upon that path. Not only because you can meet people who look down and they could be of a very, very extreme ideology, they're not following what we're teaching, they just look down and imitate that they're pious. They may be looking down but in their heart may have very bad thoughts. They could be people praying intensely but have very bad thoughts, very bad actions. They were praying, the Daesh and these terrorists in Iraq, they were praying and then putting people in cages and burning them. But you say, my gosh, they were praying and they had beautiful Arabic recitation. So no, it's not just that. It's when it's comment from these awliya that teach us, when Allah wants you to look down, He wants you to recognize your feet, and that your feet must be inheriting the feet of shaykhs, and those shaykhs must be inheriting from the holy companions and from Ahlul Bayt, and those Ahlul Bayt and companions they must be from the exemplars of the love of Sayyidina Muhammad. And then we know in our life that we are nazar bar qadam, and my whole nazar, my thought, my heart should be following that reality. What did they do? I should be doing it. Not how they are now, what did they do in all their training? I should be reading from them, I should be understanding and taking in their videos, all of these teachings and practices so that I can reach to that reality of a muqaddam. And then I know that my heart is on that with them. It's not just you look down, somebody walking by look down, oh somebody walk by you look down. This is a whole entire way of life that every moment we have to ask, Ya Rabbi, is my nazar, is my true vision of my heart, and is my heart really with them and my heart is on that path, or I'm kind of here, I'm kind of there. So there's a deeper, much deeper understanding that every day we were fighting ourselves and struggling with ourselves that I can't do it, it's too difficult, I can't do it, but I gave so much into it, there was no way but doing it. There was nowhere to go but doing it. And you know who? I saw a movie and I found out the military copies us. Remember modern military, you had a shovel and you had a pitchfork. Western militaries, they would go round up all the farmers, say, come on we're going to go fight this town, and they come with pitchforks and things. The concept of discipline and organization were tariqas. And so I saw one of these movies on the seals and how they train the seals. They break them to quit, they keep pushing them so they quit. They put them all the way underwater until they can't breathe, and they go into a state of death. They bring them back up, resuscitate them until the person says, this is crazy and I'm not going to do this and I'm leaving. And they won't. Out of 100 people they want 30 of them, and 70 of them will be quitting. Where they understood that reality, that to test so that there is no quitting, there is no sort of going sidelines, that all our life was about the testing. As a result of testing, a difficulty, you keep testing, and you're looking at your heart, Ya Rabbi, is my nazar, is my focus, not my physical eyes but my spiritual eye, is it on my path? Every decision I'm making, is that my according to my path and what's necessary for my path? And then if my heart is following my path, of course my eyes will be following the path. The more difficult is the heart of insan, not physical eye. Physical eye they just lower their gaze and pretending to be lowering their gaze. That's great, but the real nazar is the gaze of the heart, that is your heart on your path. And are you constantly struggling to keep your path, making it more difficult for yourself, more complex for yourself, more time spent on your awrad, more time spent on all of the disciplines, more time spent on the association, more time spent on watching. There's so much happening, so much to be digesting. That's the struggle when you say, I can't do it, but I'm so much into it, there's no way I can quit. And that's what your nafs is saying to you, quit, quit, quit. And those whom are successful in the way of Allah they never quit, inshaAllah. To ask Allah to take them off this earth before that event should happen, that Allah to give them strength and himmah into reaching towards these divine oceans of reality. Then and begin now the spiritual understanding for the third principle is safar dar watan. Watan depending upon the except V or Wa. So safar dar watan is the journey inward, means the traveller back to your homeland. The seeker is to return back to the Creator, to know that we are from paradise and that we are asking to return to that reality. Love for one's homeland is a sign of faith, not only physical homeland but it's more important is the spiritual homeland. That we are people from paradise oceans, heavenly oceans, and that my Safar Dar Watan is all about tafakkur. So imagine now these three principles of Naqshbandiya, which is the foundation of anyone thinking they're Naqshbandi, then how come these are not being taught? And people thinking that, oh these guys who are talking about meditation, these are doing something different. It's actually, this is Naqshbandiya, other things we don't know what the people are focusing on or not focusing on anything. Safar Dar Watan then now means my whole journey is inward. I should be busy inward. I don't have to worry about outside people, I only have to worry about the demon inside of me. I don't have to fix outside people, I don't have to do da'wah to outside people, I just have to fix myself. So then I begin to take my journey inside, and then that begins the whole process of Naqshbandiya is then to look at myself, look at my character, look at my deeds, taking my meditation every night and taking a nighttime hisab, that I take an accounting of myself that, Ya Rabbi, what are the people, places and things that I like or dislike, and if I dislike them why? Based on myself, not based on anything else. So that I take an inventory of myself, why I dislike this person, why I dislike that person. And not because you find something wrong with them, because this is only for your grave. But what is your sickness in everything in your journey inward? What is your sickness? Why is it that you have jealousy? Why is it that you have envy? Why all of these issues? So that I get to know myself and I get to know what my triggers, what are my sicknesses, what are my difficulties. And that's why we said then the greater Hajj is the inner Hajj, in which the servant starts in Muharram and begin to go inside, go inside. What is wrong with me? What is the anger in me? What is the character in me? What are the dirtinesses around me, so that I can cleanse my heart. Because later on the higher levels of the principles will be vigilance of the heart. How to be vigilant of the heart, how to safeguard the heart from agitation, aggravation and anger. That when you get angry, this is not about one person and another person, I'm going to set them straight. It means you lost your path. Allah doesn't care about any arguments, Allah doesn't care about any relations, because these relations are all dunya. If Allah testing the servant, all He cares about is your grave, and that you're not going to ever reach your reality before you enter into that grave. So that it's not about any issues, it's about what's happening to my heart now. That the conversation is agitating my heart, best to hang up and break away, take some air and be vigilant over your heart. Anything that agitating you and aggravating you in a discussion, wuquf qalb, and to be vigilant into the heart, to guard and safeguard the heart and all of its immense powers. What are the bad, what is the good, what are the emotions? So it means now the Safar Dar Watan is then the journey is a inward journey. And when we go inward, we're going from the lowest levels up into the heavens, and then from the heavens all the way coming down towards the worst desires and the bad desires within insan. InshaAllah, subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon wa salaamun al mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa wa bi siri Surat al-Fatiha. Ameen. Alhamdulillah. Safar Dar Watan. Do we have any questions? We have a few minutes before you have Maghrib. No? Nothing going on? InshaAllah. Let's break for Salatul Maghrib and inshaAllah we come back for the Khatm Khawjikan inshaAllah. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullah.
As-salamu alaykum.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا من رسول الله تعالى رحمة العالمين الصلاة والسلام عليك وعليك سبيك أجمعين الصلاة والسلام عليكم يا أنبياء الله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح كقامة الصلاة كقامة الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الله أكبر
الله أكبر
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفر إنه كان توابا الله أكبر
الله أكبر
سمع الله لمن حمده
ربنا ولك الحمد
الله أكبر
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 الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس الله الله أكبر
الله أكبر
سمع الله لمن حمده
ربنا ولك الحمد
الله أكبر
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 سمع الله لمن حمده
ربنا ولك الحمد
الله أكبر
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 السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله اللهم السلام ومنك السلام تبارك ربنا وتعالى يا ذا الجلال والإكرام لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك ولم يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير على رسولنا الصلوات استغفر الله سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإلهكم إله واحد لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم صدق الله العظيم سبحانك يا عظيم سبحان الله على نعمة الإسلام والشرف والإيمان دائما الحمد لله تعالى شأنه ولا إله غيره الله أكبر الله أكبر كبيرا وحمد لله كثيرا وسبحان الله بكرة وأصيلا لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك ولم يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير سبحان ربي العلي الوهاب
يا وهاب يا وهاب يا وهاب يا مسبب الأسباب يا مفتح الأبواب يا مقلب القلوب والأبصار يا دليل المتحيرين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حي يا قيوم يا ذو الجلال والإكرام وأفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد الفاتحة Warqat Ghaibana Salatul Janazah for all the people who passed away on last night. Inshallah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. إلى شرف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وإلى سائر ساداتنا والصديقين الفاتحة.
المرسلين سيدنا ومولانا محمد المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم بمددكم ونزلكم Ya Sayyidi Ya Rasul Kareem. Alhamdulillah that Nazar bar Qadam is an immense ocean that no matter how much time they give us you can go deeper and deeper. And what separates us from just people who are superficially trying to act out the hadith and the way of Sayyidina Muhammad is that awliyaullah come and teach us the depth of it, that the closing of one eyes, lowering of one eyes and sort of for other people. But the nazar, its immensity is actually the nazar of the heart, and the nazar of the heart is the more powerful. Remember in our principles, the inside controls the outside, that your physical faculties are of no value if the inside of you doesn't control them. So that when you're meditating and contemplating, the nazar of the heart is on the qadam. So it means that my heart has to be continuously vigilant of my path, and that to keep my path, to keep my way, to sacrifice so that I'm on my path, and everything is about the path. And so it's less important that the eyes and most important that the heart, and that which the heart focuses on will pull you towards it. So that's why the dunya people wrote a book called The Secret. They took from the hadith and made millions of dollars, right? They said, what you focus on you can draw it to you. So I want a parking space, I want a parking space. Oh, lo and behold, parking space has appeared. And they went and made millions telling people, follow your desires, focus on it, want it, and it comes to you. But these haqqaiqs were not for dunya, these were the haqqaiqs for akhirah. So awliya come and teach us that what you desire you're going to draw it towards you, and if it's satanic, of course shaitan going to throw it right into your face to distract you. So then the whole reality is based on that what I desire has to be my path, and my path is symbolized by my feet, and the reality of what qaddam stands for. How to reach to these oceans of power that is only through the way of Muhammadun Rasulullah. So that every day we ask ourselves, am I walking the path of Sayyidina Muhammad, cheating, stealing, lying, what path am I walking on? So that people don't get confused, oh I don't want to follow the tariqah, my husband doesn't like tariqah, my wife doesn't like tariqah. Forget these words. This is about following the way of Sayyidina Muhammad, and my life is, am I following the way of Prophet with good character, good akhlaq, the best of muhabbat and love. That's all that's important, and my heart has to continuously be vigilant in life that I am following that way. And then all the other realities. Then we said the journey inward, dar watan, safar dar watan or watan. Watan is your body, and the safar and the travelling inside means that as 99% of the world is travelling outside, focused on which country they belong to, go out into the streets and throw rocks on it. Even the Dalai Lama who's not supposed to be associated with anything wants his country. Everybody focusing on the outside. And awliyaullah are coming, Mawlana Chant Naqshbandi coming and teaching us, you journey inward to the home that's most important for you, your station in Allah's Divinely Presence. And that your focus in life is your journey inward into the Divinely Presence. That's why we said that the first step of journeying is not that, am I submitting to Rabbi al-A'la, but I'm submitting to all the satanic Rabbs that are governing me. So the Lord, in these teachings that word Rabb and Lordship, and that which governs you is a Lord over you. So then people who think they are following Rabbi al-A'la, it's insulting to Allah to make it sound so easy, when in reality it's shaitan that people are following. If they smoke, they drink, they have these different character vices, those are shaitans that are lords over those people and ourselves, because we can't get rid of them. If we were truly following and submitting to Rabbi al-A'la, the Lord Most High, then it would have been a different existence. But because of the lordship of this lower dimension and how they have grabbed people, then they find themselves submitting to that reality. So Safar Dar Watan is then to first find those that my journey is inward. I have to reach this Mecca. If you can't get your $30,000 ticket for that one, this one is free. The heart Mecca is free, Baytullah, Qalb al-Mu'min Baytullah. This one Allah says free, come inside, clean it, wash it, purify it, and begin now your life of circumambulating and making tawaf around that reality. That Safar Dar Watan then is opening all of that reality, and my whole journey is about my inner battle, my inner character, my inner problems, and resolves many of the conflicts. Why I have to worry about this person, that person, answer to about this thing or that thing. My life is about my grave and reaching that reality. I have to worry about myself before I can worry of others. I have to fix myself before I can fix others. A lot of emails about people trying to fix their children. I presume that after many years of not doing anything, some people wake up and realize their children who used to be nice cute little cubs have turned into wolves, like werewolves. We said before, every bache gorg, every child like a bache gorg is like a cute little cub, but every gorg become like a wolf. Some become like werewolf because when they're too wild, impossible to control. Means then that was a symbol of that path that I have to fix myself. And for those whom are young and about to establish their families or young and have young children, you shouldn't be emailing only about the child but you should be fixing yourself. Not do as I say to my children but do as I do. So I busy myself, clean myself, perfect myself, stop my yelling, stop my screaming, stop all my craziness, so that as I am doing my children will do. And they learn by copying you, not by what you say but what you do. And then alhamdulillah by the grace of Allah then you're raising them in the way of the love of Sayyidina Muhammad. And if they're older now and you're emailing and it's too late, it's never too late to fix yourself. That once you begin to fix yourself, don't need to keep emailing that these 10 kids not listening to me. There's no kid that listens to anyone. All you have to worry about is that, how come you're not listening to Allah? We can see how that's like a what do they call, oxymoron? When you're asking you keep asking, how come the kid's not listening to me? Shaykh, give me wazifah so my kids will listen to me. It's like Allah sending an email that, how come they're not listening to me? So that's why then I busy myself with myself, it's never too late. Fix myself, fix my characteristics, fix my love for Sayyidina Muhammad as I draw near to that reality, to that perfection, to that light and to that blessing, Allah resolve everything on the outside. As I fix myself and draw to that reality, Allah fixes everything on the outside. Otherwise one whom busies themselves on the outside, they forgot about everything inside. And then you're fixing just things by your physical force. But what we need is for Allah to resolve these issues, and that can only be resolved when we are running towards Allah, when we're running towards the love of Sayyidina Muhammad where Allah loves the servant and the rest is testing. Allah tests and He loves them for the sake of the love He has for that servant. So if you're good with Allah then you know that it's all in Allah's hands and life is filled with testing. So this is all part of Safar Dar Watan, and Safar Dar Watan opens up Khalwat Dar Anjuman. So the fourth principle of Naqshbandiya is the khalwa dar anjuman, is the seclusion amongst the anjuman, the people and the crowds. So there are those whom they seclude themselves away from the crowd and they run away and they have nothing to offer to the people. But Naqshbandiya, Mawlana Shah Naqshband wanted for his students that the higher reality is to be with your Lord, receiving these fayaz, and at the same time to be amongst the people so they benefit from that reality. Then Allah sends you far more for the benefit of the people that are surrounding you, knowing and unknowing of your connection. So then if that is the higher goal, then now all of this, its foundation is tafakkur. How to connect your heart, how to go deep into your meditation so that your seclusion is always in the crowd. How to be with your Lord, how to be in your connection, how to keep the vigilance on your heart and your character but yet being amongst people so that you don't lose yourself as soon as you enter into the crowds of people. That becomes then the foundation of the levels that will be going up. So we're not a people that run off into the woods and hide from everyone. We're people whom we struggled hard, made our connection, and as a result of making that connection then you're amongst people. And as a result humanity benefits from the presence of that servant. Just their connection, their zikr, their salawats, their fatihah, their movement is a light that shines out, and that creation and creatures are benefiting from that presence. For what is the benefit? For Allah to bless the servant and then the servant hides. And who benefits now? And those are particular ones, if Allah wants them to be hidden then they're hidden. But khalwa dar anjuman is that I be amongst the people and I'm always in the presence of the ones whom I love, and I keep the inner association in the inner lights of these realities. InshaAllah we try to go through more at a later time, but at least these 4 steps, are we at the 4th now? Yeah, the 4th steps and 4th principles of Naqshbandiya inshaAllah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon, salaamun al mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati Muhammad al Mustafa wa bi sirri Surat al Fatiha. InshaAllah these are all for the realities of Hajj and the inner reality of Hajj. That we're always in a movement towards the Divinely Presence, and so that Allah to make our Hajj and the Hijrah to be real, to be blessed with the immensity of Allah's Divinely blessings inshaAllah. Anything out there?
Naam Sayyidi.
Let's go.
As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh ya Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Does progress in meditation and the progress of the soul lead to weakness of the physical form?
Progress in meditation and progress into the soul lead to a weakness in the physical. The answer is a yes and no, but a yes. InshaAllah that anything we struggle in and anything we give our life to, the practices are physically intense. So years of praying, years of meditating, years of sitting on your legs no doubt you're going to have difficulty in your knees and your back and all the physical ailments of growing older doing these practices. Imam Abu Hanifa would pray I think 1000 rakahs every night until old age and got severe arthritis as a result of the salah and all of this strenuous activity that they put upon the physicality. So that's going to be a given that as we grow older our practices become more and more difficult. There's another process of energy that as we build this energy connection and build this connection for the Divine, then the carrying of burdens has its difficulty. And the different difficulties that come, physical difficulties and ailments onto the physical body, then is in Allah's hands and is a way of service. So everything has a price that Allah wants the servant to carry different difficulties and burdens and lights and energies, and the physical being that we have is not strong enough at all times to carry that. So it can cause different physical conditions. So but it's a very fine line that the madad and the support, the shaykhs above, they understand how much someone can carry. And as their burden is coming, the whole concept of the madad and the shajara, the chain and the golden chain is that we're locked on. So whatever's coming, to the degree the shaykh can carry, the student can carry, his shaykh will carry, his shaykh will carry all the way up the chain. The shaykhs will take that burden and they carry because they have no longer physical limitation. So that's why the importance was to establish at the first step the madad. So madad with the chain and to the connection, through that madad they're pulling these burdens. Then there are those whom you can meet and they don't have a chain, and they say, oh we were doing healing, we do like this, and after a short period of time they are ripped to pieces, their body is under attack, they have many physical ailments because that wasn't supposed to occur. That's not the system that Naqshbandiya has. That Naqshbandiya doesn't encourage anyone to do healing unless they've been specifically authorized and trained on how to pass that energy, not to touch anyone, because it's such a dangerous game that taking on people's shayateens and jinns and all their difficulties is not something or anything that people want. But many people have been harmed by entering into that arena and not being prepared for what they're going to be dealing with. And that's evident in many places. You see many people are very sick because they took on too much and much more than they were supposed to take on, and as a result has crushed them.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Walaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Is fragrance have any reality? Because whenever we recite more and more darood or salam, we feel very beautiful fragrance in our home. Forgive my ignorance.
Walaykum salam. Yeah, we have many of these questions. Our resource is nurmuhammad.com. So you go www.nurmuhammad.com and there's a search tab, you enter into the search tab the phrase, the power of smells or reality of fragrance, and all these talks on that reality and the power of fragrance. The reality is that aromatherapy and fragrance therapy is angelic reality. So the reality of good smell and the reality of angels that accompany that smell and the pious servants from the budala, nujab, nuqab, awtad, akhyar, jinni wa malaika. That these pious servants, they have the reality of fragrance. So when they're present, the fragrance is filling the room, filling the prayer area or what we're passing by, because of their reality is there and the purity of their reality. And that when the servant also purifies their heart, we said before that their heart is filled with a ishq and a love, and when they make du'a it's like a fragrance that's unique to their… what's that sense called that people have? Their pheromones. Everyone has a unique smell, and every creature in nature they use that smell to know their family, to know their mother. So Allah created each creation with their unique fragrance, their unique pheromones, and based on the level of purity and the level of the purity of their pheromone that is emitting from them. And that's the fragrance that they're emitting and the energy of that reality of that fragrance. Once they have the energy and the light of that, the angelic reality is that people can smell them, and that can be from their sandalwood fragrance and amber fragrance and the rose fragrances, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Could you please elaborate how the alif keeps escaping when we try to open it and not other letters such as lam, ha and others? I'm bewildered.
Yeah, that nothing can contain, that Allah is a hidden treasure wanting to be known, so that Allah can never be known. And as much as we try to move towards the understanding of the alif keeps expanding. So that's why. And then anywhere we look, as we move into the reality of the alif, always there'll be a representation of Sayyidina Muhammad there. That's the nature of what Allah has created by showing the huruf. The huruf is the science of Allah's realities, that He would allow insan to enter into that ocean to understand. So instead of having complex discussions of how it's impossible to get to know Allah, Allah says, teach them just about my alif. If they could comprehend that then they'll understand. So as soon as they looked at the alif and alif izzatullah, the might of Allah, they look and alif then opens and becomes alif, lam, fa. That was there, they stopped, they understood that Allah will continuously open that and move away, that you cannot move. If light is a constant, the speed of your light could never catch up to that reality. It'll be exactly where it has always been, because that reality is ever expanding. Allah is expanding His creation. So nowhere in your creation can you fly out with your soul to reach to that point, because Allah is continuously expanding. So as soon as you try to come to the alif, He expanded again, became alif, lam, fa. Then you say, okay, I'll go back to the alif again, became again alif, lam, fa. Because it's always a lam which is then the Muhammadan reality, and fa there's always an opening, al-fatah, al-fatiha. So Allah is continuously opening, and you'll always see the lam of Sayyidina Muhammad which is the lisan and the tongue of all realities.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, something due to our strong negative thoughts, action and speech, knowingly or unknowingly, we create negative energy which affects us. How can we resolve it?
Due to your extreme negative thoughts, you create a negative energy. And how can you resolve the negative energy? By creating a stronger positive energy. So that's why when we make wudu and salatul wudu, to shield us from the negativity wa sayyata amalina, and from the sins of our amal. That as soon as we begin to make our salawats and all our practices, they produce a far greater positive energy to consume the negative energy. So they eat the sins. So as soon as you begin to make lots of salawats and try to perfect your character, do good deeds for your character, give sadaqah at that time. We say if you do and continuously doing something bad, you should have a speed button for Fatima Zahra helping hand. And as soon as you do something bad, do something good, and then make your salawats, make your different duroods, your different du'as from the app. The energy is far greater positive energy that consumes those negativities. And we have the Sultan of Tawbah from Mawlana Shaykh on the app, Tawbat Abdin Zalimeen. They say if there's a king of forgiveness du'a, that is the king of forgiveness. Tawbat Abdin Zalimeen. And then you recite those du'as, the salawats, the duroods, and create a more positive energy that will take away all the negativity inshaAllah.
As-salamu Sayyidi.
Walaykum as-salam wa rahmatullah.
When and how do we say who?
When and how do we say who? Who? We say it in our breathing, we say it in the zikr, in the breathing practices. When you begin to learn how to unlock the breathing, your initial state is Allah, 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 Allah. But when you're going into breathing practices, it's just zikr of who. And we said before that when you start to try to meditate with the meditation of the breath, you want to breathe out and breathe in with your zikr, but that may be foreign for people, so they go exhaling all negativity and then inhaling. Later as they progress, they don't even need to make that sound anymore, they're just they push out their breath in a zikr, and their zikr is khafi. And Mawlana Chant Naqshband's zikrs and associations were all khafi. And the only reason Naqshbandiya is doing loud zikr now is because these are the areas of da'wah. But for Mawlana Chant Naqshband everything was khafi, these were the masters of tafakkur and muraqabah. And during his shaykh's life, when the shaykh would do a loud association, Mawlana Chant Naqshband would leave to another area and do the khafi zikr to keep his connection with the shaykh, because he found that the loud zikr was keeping him to be present in the association. When you are khafi, you enter into a death state and leave the body. So this is all, these are all the trainings that Naqshbandiya specializes. If I'm sitting somewhere in an association, I have to keep going, Allah, Allah, Allah. Well, I have to be here to say Allah. I have to be very present with my body to be saying that. But if you are trained in this way, the zikr starts, you enter like a state of death in which you're not moving, and your zikr is on your heart and in your soul, and they can begin to leave their body by not moving it. Any agitation on the body, then they become very much present again, and to be present with their body. So definitely the higher, much more powerful is Mawt qabla al-Mawt, a state in which all the attendees are dead and they're doing their zikr through their soul. That is immensely more powerful. But because we are in the lands of da'wah and these are the end days in which trying to even teach where they don't even accept the principles of Naqshbandiya anymore, they think it's something strange, it's coming back to them like we've never heard these things before. But this was the depth of Naqshbandiya and what Mawlana Chant Naqshband was bringing. Mawlana Abdul Khaliq al-Khujdawani was doing these zikrs and these practices underwater, and in his maqam in Khujdawan in Uzbekistan, there's a well in his zawiyah, and this well of water he would go into the well and he would do all his spiritual practices submerged in the well, because he said that as I'm submerged I have less influence from shaitan, because their purity inside they push the shaitans out, and as a result when they go into water the shaitans won't enter in to follow them. So meditation, talk about severe meditation, they were doing it under freezing cold water in a well. So if they say there's no meditation in tariqah, then they just negated Mawlana Abdul Khaliq al-Khushdawani and Mawlana Chant Naqshbandi, that they were the masters of this foundation, and to a severe and an extreme reality of submerging. And this is areas of freezing cold, the wells are not heated wells, these are very cold areas and regions. So when you talk about going into the well, they're going into freezing cold water and submitting, and probably hypothermic at that level of cold, and doing their zikrs and their khafi practices, inshaAllah. And that's why they're the masters of that region, masters of reality. And the golden chain, there's not just a silver chain or iron chain, they're the golden chain that is a golden reality from the heart of Sayyidina Muhammad Naqshbandiyatul Aliyah, the Most High. Most High for what? Because of the depth of the reality that they entered into the Muhammadan heart and the secrets in which they brought out. And because of the depth of that reality that it leaves itself and its blessings to flow into the heart and to the reality of Sayyidina Muhammad al-Mahdi salam. So it has immense realities, immense realities.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
So is it better during the khatam to stay silent or recite aloud?
Yeah, when we're talking about these realities, these are people who are trained, they made their tafakkur, they made all their contemplation, then everybody can judge where they are. If you didn't make any contemplation, didn't make any connection, didn't make anything, then no, you have to do it loud. Because you have to do the zikr, you have to hear it, you have to scare away the different beings that are around, and so it has its own blessing and the people around you to do the zikr. But as you're practicing and meditating and your meditation is stronger, your connection is stronger, it's something you wouldn't even ask, you don't even need to. It's like you want to take the system offline and you begin to fly. So it's not something that you would ask, you would know that in your energy. You just don't have the energy when your lips are moving, the energy comes when you're state of death. When you don't move, there's not a tasbih in your hand, nothing, you're just holding your connection with your heart and your soul, and the rest of your soul is out doing its zikr, and that's when they become in a state of hal. They enter immediately into a hal, and the shaykh has to be trained in that. As a result of that hal and that energy, they begin to address the energy of anyone who's watching, attending, anything. It's just from the soul of the shaykh, inshaAllah.
Salam dear Shaykh.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
The other night I was doing tafakkur and my body heated up intensely, then I had so much energy I couldn't move or sleep. This frightened me. What should I do next time this happens?
Continue. That's the energy. A lot of times the energy comes and you go all the way to Fajr time, you pray your Fajr and you can't sleep after that. That's the divine energy and the divine power that comes onto the soul, where the sleep is not that important, but the energy is important, to achieve that energy is important, and that's tasting from that reality. There's nothing to be fearful of and nothing to be scared of, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum beloved Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
How do you keep the vigilance over your heart at all times and not remain too silent to people that they feel you aren't normal?
Yeah, khalwa dar anjuman is that you're amongst people but in your heart this is all khafi. So that's why these practices you have to go step by step, not that you hear like a talk and say, I'm going to do this. We're going step by step. So we're going to talk about the principles, but somebody may not be there at that level just to start to implement it. This is not sort of hear and do right away. These are the teachings of the ways of Naqshbandiyah. So one is you make your connection with the shaykh, practice your tafakkur, your meditation, practicing all these things. And then amongst people being normal, not to gain attention to them, not to make them think that you're special or you're different, not to go to the mosque and put a veil over your head and sit with a tasbih, that's all egoistic. This is all very secluded. This is that you're in your room doing your practices and nobody knows what you're doing. So that when you train, then you go amongst people, they're talking and you're talking, but in your heart you're seeing that your heart with your shaykh, with Prophet and keeping your connection, not losing yourself and going crazy and wild, that the person is like lost, they lost themselves. That's why you keep the level of your ihtiram, keep the level of your respect, keep the level of your character. Those are the guiding forces that's showing you that you're able to keep control. Don't enter into discussions that are going to make you angry and wild and change who you are. So those levels of testing begin to increase. And then when people are doing different things and you have your tasbih in your pocket, then you can stop and do some of your tasbih and zikr that nobody's seeing and watching, or if you're in your car you do your zikr. But it's as much as to be normal in front of people so that they don't find you to be different, and that everything now will become egoistic, and that whatever your practices are only for Allah and for Sayyidina Muhammad, not for the benefit of people praising us, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear Sayyidi,
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
could you please guide us, what is the best things to do as we are approaching Eid next few days?
Yeah, the meditation, the tafakkur, the inner hajj, see yourself at all the places of the hajj, everything that they're doing you're doing. So that when they're making the tawaf, visualize yourself that you're making tawaf, visualize yourself in your meditation, make yourself to be in the presence of the holy Kaaba, asking, Ya Rabbi dress me from the faiz and the lights that are coming upon the Kaaba, and you're meditating, doing your zikr, doing your salawats, doing all your practices, recite all the du'as for all of the prayers, and you're busy. If anyone's following that app, you have hours of prayers. If you read just like from Asr, all the awrad what you're supposed to recite, beginning, ending, in the middle, Fajr, Asr, Zohr, Maghrib, Isha, all the way to Tahajjud, to Najat, you would be having so many things to recite you wouldn't even be asking that. And then also the app has the du'as, the salawat, so all of this ibadah is right there on the app, very easy. So from whatever time restraints people have because of work, then you have the different wazifas for each of the salah. You can pray the Zohr if you don't have work and do the whole awrad with which holy surah to recite for that. It's all on the app. So that's why it's so much ibadah on this app that nobody should ever have a question of what they should be doing. They have so much to do there. And you should be reciting all the du'as. This is the du'as of Grand Shaykh Abdul Faiz Dagestani, Sultan Shaykh Muhammad Nazim Haqqani, recite all of the salawats. So once you finished all of that, then you can ask, do we have anything else? But you'll be booked yeah, you'll be great, huge amount of hours in worship in this, inshaAllah give you more and more, and all of us more and more, and good deeds. And that Arafah, and the reality of Arafah is the Qurban, and the reality of Arafah and its sacrifice, that, Ya Rabbi, that I'm asking that accept my Qurban, and that to sacrifice my bad character, what I was not able to achieve myself by my actions and sayyat amalina and the sins of my actions. Ya Rabbi, please accept my Qurban, and through the Qurban to lift these difficulties away. And people contribute to the Qurban according to their ability. We have shared Qurbans, they don't have to do the whole cow or a whole camel or a whole goat. Based on their ability they can give, even to the extent if they don't have those means, then go buy food for somebody and give a hamburger to a homeless person. and that Allah accept that qurban, accept that sacrifice. And the good deed is what's important at this time, on those days and those nights. That this is the time in which Allah is making paychecks for Divinely lights and Divinely realities. So that to be in that system, we want our good deeds to be counted. That Allah send out these lights and send out these blessings. And our system in tariqah, we don't wait for anybody to give for us to order. We order the amounts of qurbans for all over the world ahead of time. So we're not waiting for people to contribute, not contribute, we don't care if they do or they don't. The system has already been sent out and the numbers have been sent out, and people are welcome to support, and they support towards that whole project, whatever's happening and wherever we are doing those programs inshaAllah. But the main thing is to catch these nights and these blessings, that Allah dress us and bless us from them inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum ya Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Last night my brother saw a white cat while waking up from sleep. He put on the light but it was still there, then it went to the balcony and vanished. We live on the 6th floor. What is that?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Maybe it was a mu'min jinn coming to check on you. But yeah, alhamdulillah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
What do you do if you feel like there's so much to do but you can't find the time?
Time management inshaAllah. There's lots of things to do, and then you put it in importance, just like for work. You make a spreadsheet and put a time management chart together and say, I'm going to do this at this time, this is a free time, this is a free time, and that you manage yourself and organize yourself. Islam is all about discipline, and tariqah is even more stringent disciplines. So then again, time management, make a spreadsheet and say, this is the time I have to drive, recite your salawats at that time. This is the time I'm driving home, recite the dhikr of Allah at that time, make your istighfar at this time. I have a couple hours on TV, I'm going to make istighfar. I have a couple hours with my family, at this time I'm going to recite this. So the basic is to manage your time and then stick to it. Don't leave everything for night time and falling asleep, then you fall asleep and you miss the whole system inshaAllah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon wa salaamun al mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen bi hurmati Muhammad al Mustafa wa wasir Surat al Fatiha. Alhamdulillah, great to hear from everyone. These are holy nights, and so keep everybody a little bit longer so that they can be dressed by these lights and these blessings. Anybody sleepy or tired, you can stand up and stretch to get your energy and your blood flowing back into your system inshaAllah. Bi niyat khatima khawjagan. Fa'auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. أستغفر الله 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 العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه إنه هو التواب القلب دين الإسلام من كل ما يخالف الشريعة من كل ما يخالف الطريقة من كل ما يخالف المعرفة من كل ما يخالف الحقيقة من كل ما يقال ونظيما يا أرحم الراحمين. يا الله اللهم يا مسبب الأسباب، يا مفتح الأبواب، يا مقلب القلوب والأبصار، يا ذا المتحيرين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حي يا قيوم، يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. وفوضوا أمر الله، إن الله بصير بالعباد. رابطة الشريف. فاتحة الشريف. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. صلوات الشريف. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم. 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 ألم نشرح لك الشريف. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا وإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك وإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا وإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك وإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا وإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. إخلاص الشريف. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. فاتحة الشريف. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. صلوات الشريف. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم. 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 اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد
محمد وسلم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل 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 محمد وسلم.
صلي ربي وسلم على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وآل كل أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. على أشرف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى أصحابه الكرام ومشايخنا في طريقة النقشبندية العالية، خاصة إلى روح من طريقة غوث الخليقة خواجة شان نقشبند محمد ويسي البخاري، وسلطان الأولياء شيخ عبد الله فايز الداغستاني، وسلطان الأولياء شيخ محمد ناظم عادل الحقاني، ومن الشيخ شام كباني شيخ عدنان كباني شيخ محمد عادل وعبد الخالق الغجدواني، صاحب الزمان سيد محمد المهدي عليه السلام، روح الله سيدنا عيسى عليه السلام، سيف الله سيدنا علي عليه السلام، ثم سيدنا أبو بكر الصديق، سيدنا عمر، سيدنا عثمان، يوم الحسن عليه السلام، يوم الحسين عليه السلام، سيدنا فاطمة الزهراء عليه السلام، وسائر ساداتنا والصديقين بسر سورة الفاتحة. لا إله إلا الله، 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 محمد رسول الله عليه صلوات الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، محمد حبيب الله عليه صلوات الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، محمد نبي الله عليه صلوات الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، محمد خليل الله عليه صلوات الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، محمد صفي الله عليه صلوات الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، محمد نجي الله عليه صلوات الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، محمد شفيع الله عليه صلوات الله، لا إله إلا 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 هو، لا إله إلا هو، لا إله إلا هو، لا إلا هو لا إله إلا هو لا إله إلا هو لا إله إلا هو لا إله إلا هو 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 إلا illallah Muhammed Halilullah La ilahe illallah Muhammed Halilullah La ilahe illallah Muhammed Safiullah La ilahe illallah Muhammed Safiullah La ilahe illallah Muhammed Najiullah La ilahe illallah Muhammed Najiullah La ilahe illallah Muhammed Shafiullah La ilahe illallah Muhammed Shafiullah ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب بلى يا الله 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 حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم يا دائم يا دائم يا دائم يا الله يا حليم يا حليم يا حليم يا الله يا حفيظ يا حفيظ يا حفيظ يا الله يا مجيب يا مجيب يا مجيب يا الله يا لطيف يا لطيف يا لطيف يا الله يا غفار يا غفار يا غفار يا الله يا ستار يا ستار يا ستار يا الله يا جبار يا جبار يا جبار يا الله يا قهار يا قهار يا قهار يا الله يا رزاق يا رزاق يا رزاق يا الله يا فتاح يا فتاح يا فتاح يا الله يا ودود يا ودود يا ودود يا الله يا ودود يا ودود يا ودود يا الله يا رحمن يا رحمن يا رحمن يا الله يا رحمن يا رحمن يا رحمن يا الله يا رحيم يا رحيم يا رحيم يا الله يا رحيم يا رحيم يا رحيم يا الله يا حنان يا حنان يا حنان يا الله يا حنان يا حنان يا حنان يا الله يا منان يا منان يا منان يا الله يا منان يا منان يا منان يا الله يا ديان يا ديان يا ديان يا الله يا ديان يا ديان يا ديان يا الله يا سبحان يا سبحان يا سبحان يا الله يا سبحان يا سبحان يا سبحان يا الله يا سلطان يا سلطان يا سلطان يا الله يا سلطان يا سلطان يا سلطان يا الله يا أمان يا أمان يا أمان يا الله يا أمان يا أمان يا أمان يا الله 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 أنت الله أنت الله أنت الله يا الله أنت الله أنت الله أنت الله يا الله هو الله هو الله هو الله يا الله هو الله هو الله هو الله يا الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم 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 يا أحد يا صمد صل على محمد 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 إمام مهدي 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 يا مهدي إمام 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 مهدي يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله يا سيد يا صاحب يا صديق يا رسول يا الله حسبنا الله ربنا 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 الله نعم المولى ونعم النصير نعم المولى ونعم النصير حسبنا الله ربنا الله حسبنا الله ربنا الله نعم المولى ونعم النصير نعم المولى ونعم النصير يا جبار يا قهار 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 يا غالبا
غير مغلوب يا غالبا غير مغلوب يا غالبا غير مغلوب يا غالبا غير مغلوب يا غالبا غير مغلوب يا شاهدا غير مغيب يا شاهدا غير مغيب يا شاهدا غير مغيب
يا قاربا
غير بعيد يا قاربا غير بعيد يا قاربا غير بعيد
يا غالبا
غير مغلوب يا غالبا غير مغلوب يا غالبا غير مغلوب.
حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير، لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. فلشرف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عليه وصحبه الكرام وعلى مشايخنا في طريقة النقشبندية العالية، خاصة روح إمام طريقة غوث خديك شان نشبه محمد ويسى البخاري، سلطان الأولياء الشيخ عبد الفيز الداغستاني، سلطان الأولياء الشيخ محمد ناظم عبد الحقاني، مولانا الشيخ هشام كباني، الشيخ عدنان كباني، الشيخ محمد عادل، عبد خالق الخوج الدواني، صاحب زمان سيد محمد المهدي عليه السلام، وروح الله سيدنا عيسى عليه السلام، سيف الله سيدنا عليه السلام، ثم سبق الصديق سيدنا أمة سيدنا عثمان، إمام الحسن عليه السلام، إمام الحسين عليه السلام، سيداتنا فاطمة الزهراء عليه السلام، والسير وساداتنا صدقين. الفاتحة. لك شفاعة يا رسول الكريم. آمين. Amen. For all those watching online, Allah bless you, bless you, inshallah. Help me at nurmuhammad.com and the Fatima Zara Helping Hand.org. Inshallah, anybody can share a post and share a link, and alhamdulillah, make a review on Amazon, inshallah, to help the book, the Timeless Reality. Inshallah, Allah bless you, and fill your hearts, your homes and your lives with this light of the love of Sayyidina Muhammad inshaAllah. Bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa wa bi siri Surat al-Fatiha. Barakat shafat ya Rasul Kareem. Ameen. InshaAllah. Alhamdulillah. They cut that.